The tension between the Black and Latino community needs to stop. And we need to be the generation to stop it. Anti-Blackness exists in our community. We know this. Anti-Blackness also exists within the Black community itself. All communities of color struggle with this. And the reason why is what we all have in common. We were all colonized and trained to have a mindset of you versus me for survival. But that ends with us. We need to lead with unity and not division. We have to be the change we want to see. We have to stop pointing the finger in both communities and make the decision that we are going to choose to be united versus divided. I'm not going to pretend like I have all the answers, but here are examples of how you can show up differently and be the change you want to see. Number one, share stories of solidarity. Share stories of love. Share stories of when you have experienced the Black or Latino community showing up in your spaces. We need to shift the narrative. Number two, if your reality is division between the Black and Latino community and your goal is unity, then it is up to you to seek out examples of when the Latino and Black communities show up for one another, where they show love, where there is actual solidarity, because guess what? It exists. And if you need a place to start with me. I am happy to be a part of your network of Latinos who have nothing but love for our Black sisters and brothers. Number three, ask your neighbors how you can be helpful. You need to lead with your heart in this moment. That is the only way that we are going to experience an actual shift. We have to show up as human beings. We have to show up vulnerable. We have to show up as the change that we want to see. Lastly, ask others to join you. Let's actually start in the comments. Share your stories of solidarity and love. If members of the Latino and Black community have a hard time seeing it, let's show them how it's actually done. I stand with my Black brothers and sisters, and I also stand with my Latino familia. But the change, it starts with us. I love you.
It's really funny how life moves in circles for months, no, for years. Black people won many Latinos across, communities about Trump's immigration agenda, not the sugar-coated version, not the he's only talking about the criminals version, the real agenda: mass deportation, military-style raid, family separation, and a system that would sweep up millions of people with no ounce of mercy. Trump wasn't hiding it. He shouted it as loud as he could at every rally, every campaign. He built his entire campaign around remigration, mass deportation, talking about taking back America. But back then, a huge portion of the Latino community, shrugged, dismissed warnings, or even repeated some of the same Republican, talking point. He's only talking about illegals. Well, guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much for clicking. When you saw this video, I'm going to let the rest of the videos roll. You know how some people try to, make everything call for unity and all that. You still have people who are still calling out Black folks. Well, let's take a look at these videos. Then I'll come back with more commentary. Credit belongs to original creators of this video. Let's go watch.
I am so sick of scrolling online and watching Black Americans sit there and advise their people not to support the immigration movement that's going on across the entire United States. What have they done for us? They never supported our protests. Yes, they have. Go watch some old footage. You're going to see people in different shades, different colors, even sizes. It's a beautiful thing. And now I'm not simply going after Black Americans, because I'm watching Hispanics, Latinos with legal status that simply just betrayed their people, saying, we don't support this. You know what's crazy? Back in those days, Black Americans weren't the only ones that were fighting for civil rights, for equality. You had the Puerto Ricans, you had the Chicanos, you had Black Americans. And the beautiful thing is that even back in those days, there was unity going on behind closed doors. You had the Chicano movement, the Brown Berets, you had the Puerto Ricans, the Young Lords, you had the Black Panthers, all united. And guess what? Back in those days, you had people like this spreading that same harmful rhetoric. Oh, we shouldn't unite with the Puerto Ricans. Oh, we shouldn't unite with the Chicanos. Yeah, even back in those days, it was happening. If that wasn't the case, those movements would have been a lot larger. But guess what? There was a small group of people that saw the vision, and every time they united, they were successful. And unfortunately, back in those days, it was eventually broken apart when one of the leaders ended up passing away, or they were hit with RICO charges, and eventually they just dispersed. A lot of people don't know this, but back in the day, during Martin Luther King, he understood the vision. He understood, and he motivated the Puerto Ricans to form and fight for their civil rights and equality, and the Chicanos. And they did. They formed their stuff. And guess what? I love this quote, and it says a whole lot. It says, we cannot walk alone. We will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Martin Luther King. Guess what? These are your neighbors, your friends, and even family. And that type of abandonment is loud. I think all of us felt that type of abandonment throughout our lives at a smaller scale, from friends, betrayal, and so on. You wanted someone to speak up for you, and they didn't. Why would you expect civil rights, equality for your people, but not for everyone else? Doesn't make much sense, does it? See, now we're going backwards. But what they don't want us to do is unite. Because all them streets that you see right now in Los Angeles, New York, and so on, guess what? If we come together, they will be even more full. Every square footage of them streets will be completely covered. And they don't want that. I hate that Hispanic Latinos go against their interests. I call them out all the time, especially with what Donald Trump is doing. And even Black Americans, you know that Donald Trump was actually at a military event, and he goes on to say that he's renaming military bases to Confederate generals' names. Do you know what the Confederacy represents? It represents them preserving slavery back in those days. I'm sick and tired of y'all going against your own interests. The people that are speaking and passing on this harmful rhetoric for even the younger people, guess what? Y'all are not even any better than the white supremacy. Who needs the white supremacy when they have you doing the work for them?
It's true. Black people will be discriminated against in a Latin American country. If you're leaving America to get away from discrimination and you're moving to a Latin American country thinking that you're not going to be discriminated against, you're wrong. I've been hearing a lot about people that have moved to Mexico and are complaining that they're being discriminated against in Mexico. Let me tell you something. Mexico discriminates against their own Mexican people that are darker shade than the rest of them. In Mexico, there's a lot of states that have very fair skin and blue eyes people. The people that have indigenous features, the very dark skin, the black hair, are discriminated against. So you coming to live to Mexico and think that you're not going to be discriminated against is a fallacy. This is not just in Mexico. It happens everywhere in Latin America. Black people are discriminated against. In Honduras, there's an entire community of Garifunas. And Garifunas have been in Honduras for hundreds of years. And to this day, they discriminate against them. They remove their land. Some of them even get murdered. It's a battle Garifunas have gone through for decades with Honduras, because Honduras to this day does not recognize Garifunas as part of being part of Honduras. And so I grew up looking at Garifunas as if they were subculture, subhuman. I'm telling you, you think that you're leaving the US and moving to a Latin American country to escape racism? You're not escaping racism. And you need to understand that that's just the way things are. And it's very acceptable. Some of you who are coming on TikTok complaining that they're in Mexico and that they are embracing the Mexican culture, and why are they being discriminated against? That is why. Mexico people discriminate against their own. What do you think it's going to happen when you're there? In fact, in Mexico, if you don't have light skin and blue eyes, first of all, look at the telenovelas. You tell me, what do you see in telenovelas? You're only going to see beautiful people with light skin and blue eyes. You're going to see some indigenous people. The vast majority of the roles they give the indigenous actors is of the maid, is of, it's never the pretty woman. Yeah. How many actors do you know in Mexico that are in a telenovela and they happen to be black? Just look at the telenovelas and you tell me how many indigenous actors and actresses you're going to see in those telenovelas. It's the reality in Mexico, and you need to understand that. You're not escaping racism by moving to a Latin American country.
Some of these same people keep saying immigrants are ruining the country. These are immigrants that are talking this, so it's not like it's other people. These are immigrants. Some even look down on black folks, assuming that black folks were exaggerating or too dramatic about race to the seas and white supremacy. Anti-blackness played a big part in it too, because some genuinely believe staying close to whiteness would kind of protect them. Now look at what's happening. Suddenly the same people who said Trump would never deport us are the ones begging for unity, begging for empathy, begging for black people to stand with them, defend them and speak up for them, because now they realize Trump was not playing. His politeness and his policies don't have a filter. They don't have a certain, system, and they don't care who you voted for. He said he would deport millions, and millions include you if your papers are shaky, if your parents' documents are imperfect, if your spouse is undocumented, if you came here as a kid, or if you are, a citizen, but your family isn't. Trump doesn't do, and he does chaos. And panic has already started. Latinos who chaired his rallies are now crying online. Some are saying they didn't think it would, affect them. Some say they only voted for him because of religion. Some say they only cared about business. Some say they hoped, Trump will punish other groups, not theirs.
Me and the Latino, what are you doing? I'm seeing you guys in Black creators' comments who are like, and I think these Black creators are rage bait at this point, because they're saying that Black community, remember, we're not getting involved. And you guys get in the comments and you're like, hey, we were there for you. We did this, and then silencio. They were there for us. We've seen it in the videos in LA. Black community will stand up against injustices, just like the Latino community stands with them in the faces of their injustices. This is not a tit for tat. This is a right and wrong. If you feel it in your heart that what is going on is wrong, you will stand up. Okay, that is what it is. It's simple. We're not tit for tat. We're not saying, hey, I was there for you. You need to be here. They are there. We've seen it in the videos. Do not allow divisive tactics, because that's what it is, to affect the way you see the Black community. If it is wrong, you will stand up, and that is it. Just like we see with the Black community, we see it in the videos. They knew it was wrong, and they stood with the Latino community, and that's all we need. It's not a tit for tat. It's not a, oh, you weren't there for me, so I'm not. No. In the face of injustice, we will stand. Okay?
Now that the deportation is at their own doorstep, suddenly the tone has changed. Now is, we need Black and brown unity. We must stand together as minorities. This is a human rights issue. But where was all this unity talk when Black people were warning them? Where was this energy when Trump called Africans, a kind of whatever, okay? Where was this unity when Black people were, being taken by police and asked for immigrant communities to stand with them too? Where was this unity when ICE raids under Trump, torn African families apart in silence? Because let's talk truth, okay? There were, Africans also deported under Trump as well. Nobody said a word, okay? Now that is happening to Latinos, I think it's not just Africans. There are other communities that are also deported at the time. But now, nobody talked about it. But now that it's happening to Latinos, they are now calling on Black folks, or come help us, doing the whole Black Lives Matters. They allowed everyone just carry your cross, sort of, okay? Just few of them came out, which people have also acknowledged that, yeah, some people came out. But yeah, you can't still force some of these things on them. People who want you, that this was going to happen, okay? Black people kept saying the same thing over and over. If he would do this to us, he will do it to you. White supremacy has no loyalty, okay? The same system you think you are safe in will turn on you again, the next. If you support rate to the seas policies, those rate to the seas policies will eventually hit your house too. So a lot of people actually want them, but yeah, you all know how people always do until something comes to them, until they actually feel it firsthand. They will not make a move. And now that the whole thing is on their doorstep, they are now calling for help. And I like the fact that some of them are also calling their own people to order. Why do we keep calling on Black people for help when they actually helped by voting against this whole thing that is happening? Well, guys, let me know what you want to think in the comments. Let's have that conversation. Please do want to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up so that more people can see it.
If you feel it in your heart that what is going on is wrong, you will stand up.
Bye, guys.
That is what it is.